Thank you for tuning in to another segment of Outside the Box. And tonight we are talking about intentionally reprogramming your mindset for success. And we have two awesome life coaches and authors in the building. So I want you to stay tuned because now you're plugged in, tuned in, tapped in to Outside the Box. We're thanking you once again, and I'm going to go ahead on and introduce our first guest for the evening. We have Miss Marsha McCray. She is a life coach, well, one of my life coaches, most definitely, and also an author. Thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I want you to introduce yourself and tell everyone what it is that you do for a living.
I do a few things. The first thing, I'm a life coach. I'm the author of Living Intentionally Daily Devotional, The Purposeful Seasons of Your Life, which can be ordered at marshamccray.com. I'm also a boutique owner, and it's Blue Label Boutique, and blue is spelled B-L-U, Blue Label Boutique, and I'm also the founder and president of Brunch Beauty Empowerment Network, a women's organization located here in Houston.
That is so dope. Well, shout out to Brown Girl Magic. Yes. So you can see that she is definitely an entrepreneur that is living outside the box. So we have her, and we also have another guest today, one of my good friends, Rickey Getwood Jr.
What up?
He is also an author and a life coach. He wrote a book as well, and I'm going to give him an opportunity to properly introduce himself and tell us what all he does.
Man, I love being around people who have like multiple hats because I used to feel like I got too many things going on, but it's like you do a little bit of everything. So let's see, I'm an author, I'm a personal trainer, I'm a life coach, I'm a drummer, and most recently I've been titled Manifestation Coach.
I love that.
And this has been a thing, and I'm taking those titles and I'm putting them all into one, and it kind of goes along with the brain of reprogramming your mindset for everything you want.
Well, actually, I have a video that I want everybody to see. Check it out.
RPGM, reprogram. Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Rickey Getwood Jr. I'm originally from Port Arthur, Texas. Man, growing up, I was always this very curious kid, trying to figure out life, trying to figure out why things happen. Why do I think the way I think? Why do I feel the way I feel? Life gave me the opportunity to start figuring these things out. To go from being extremely overweight, to being homeless, to being almost emasculated in bad relationships, I sat back and asked myself, how am I able to maintain happiness? How am I able to maintain my sanity? And I've realized it's just the way I saw things. I started making sense of the way I saw things. That's the only thing I want to do for you guys. That's what RPGM is all about. Reprogram the way you see things to make it make sense to yourself. Let me help you guys.
Now, you had me at Manifestation Coach. We're just going to start, I guess, from the beginning. What made you want to get into the whole reprogram your mindset, life coach, and just being a light in a dark room?
Man, to be a light in a dark room, you got to be in a dark place to identify with it. So I was in a really, really dark place. I was overweight, out of shape, unhealthy, miserable relationships, miserable life, everything. It was just bad, And going to the doctors and all stuff like that, they want to put you on all this medication. Everything is medicate this, medicate that, and I was just like, you know what, this is getting to my nerves. And to be, we open, we could talk.
Yeah, we could talk. It's
okay, I just want to make sure. Okay,
you can say whatever.
So this is really being extremely transparent. Okay. The one thing that made me have to completely reprogram my mindset was I couldn't get an erection. Okay, I was so unhealthy.
How heavy were you, if you don't mind me asking?
I was 366. I was 366 pounds. And I was on all this medication, and I couldn't perform. Nothing was happening. You know what I mean? And so as a young man, I was around 30 at the time. For most men, that's all we got.
Right.
You lose that. It's like, what's the point? Nothing else matters. But at that point, I was like, okay, something has to change. It's just that. It's like the quality of life. I want to be happy. I want to be healthy. And I got to the point where it was like, no, thank you, doctors, for all of your information. Thank you for all your PhDs and all your studies. But I know I can change my lifestyle. I know I can reprogram my thought process. I'm from Port Arthur, Texas, raised in the hood, single mother, dad not around. You know the story. You hear that story over and over and over. And I was like, you know what? The whole problem is that I think with a impoverished mindset, okay, in every area of my life, money, relationships. Yeah, you know what I mean? So I'm literally for the past 32 years of my life before, I was just attracting all that negativity. And I was like, okay, so I sat down and long story short, I went through this really, really bad bout of depression, on the verge of committing suicide, and I heard Eric Thomas speak. And that just completely changed my mindset. And from that point on, I was like, if you're going to be here, you're going to do it the right way. Like, take control of your life and be okay with saying, like, you know what, I'm from Port Arthur, but that doesn't mean I have to stay here. I'm broke, that doesn't mean I have to be here. And so that's why I came, just reprogram everything you're doing and reprogram your life for what you want. So I started thinking, I'm going to lose this weight. And that's what happened. I'm not going to be broke. And that's what happened. I'm going to have a good relationship. And that's what happened. I just kept on saying it, kept on doing it. And then eventually it was like, hell, I can manifest whatever I want.
Yeah, you definitely. I've literally watched you manifest. We've spoken and we talk about crystals and everything.
I was literally telling somebody that, man, she be on crystals like for real. She was educating me. I was like, I don't even know. I'm just listening like, for real,
so when you found your fiance, I was like, he manifested her.
I did that.
Like, my friend manifested her because she's like perfect for him.
Right.
And he couldn't, you couldn't have thought about it any better. They're just perfect. But okay. Yeah. So I'm not gonna get out on your personal. I'm happy for you though.
Thank you.
I am. I want to ask you, where were you in your life when you decided to be a light in a dark room?
I was in a dark place. We have similar stories. I was recently divorced, and I found myself. I'm an introvert, and because of which I never had friendships. I didn't know how to form them. And here I am divorced, no friends, no tribe, no nothing. And I just knew it had to be more than life. I had a very close friend that's older. She's like my mom's age, and she was sick. And I remember sitting in MD Anderson ICU with her, and I was pretending, and maybe I shouldn't say this on air, but I was pretending to be her daughter so I could stay there with her. And she doesn't have any children, never married. And as I saw her, I'm like, that could be me. That I literally, it was like, like the Christmas story, Ghosts of Christmas Past and Christmas Present. It was like this present. I'm like, that could be me. And she would have me, but who would I have?
Right.
So I knew I had to intentionally form a tribe, make intentional friendships, healthy relationships that were supportive, and people that were like-minded and like-spirited. And everything grew and manifested from there. I didn't know living intentionally was what I was doing. I just knew I had to do something on purpose. And it grew from there. That's where the organization first grew. The book came from me just keeping my own sanity. It was a diary to myself, and it grew into that. But I was in a dark place, and I just knew it had to be, it had to get better, and it did. But I was able to manifest that as well, just making intentional choices.
Right.
I love
it.
That. I know.
Yes.
My face is,
Getting chills right now.
So now that you guys both, and I'm going to ask you first since I'm still talking to you, now that you actually can see yourself walking in your light, in your gift, how has it changed your outlook, in your relationships?
I feel unstoppable. I sometimes you think you're only able to do one thing, but God has shown me that I'm able to do multiple things. I am multi-talented. He's given me much more. And if he's given me the desire, he's made it possible. And if he's given me the vision, he's also given me the provision. So I've always stood by that. So I'm no longer afraid to do more than one thing. I wasn't afraid to do more than just Brunch Beauty. I wasn't afraid to do Living Intentionally or Blue Label. And it doesn't even stop there. I mean, the dream is growing daily because I'm so in tune with him. I'm so in tune with his voice that it's the sound of a parent. If my mama calls me, if my daddy calls me, out of any voice, I'm going to be able to recognize that. And that's how I recognize and respect what he says to me. I'm not saying I'll have moments of being a little nervous. I'm human, but I know I'm comforted. I know that I'm never left. I know that I'm never forsaken. And I know that it's a vision that he's given for me. He's put that already in me. And I'm just ready to do what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Love it.
And now I see, when I first met you, I didn't know how much your territory would be increased. Let me say that, because the universe, God, the higher power has definitely increased your territory, because you went from one thing to another, and everything kind of like meshes together.
It literally did. Yeah.
So how has that changed the dynamic of your friendships, relationships, now that you're walking in your calling?
God, I'm gonna keep that short because I can go all day with that one. The easiest, with the simplest way I could put it is, everything makes sense. Everything I'm doing makes a whole lot of sense. Instead of kind of guessing and wondering what I'm doing, like you said, like I'm human, so I have those nervous butterflies every now and then. But I've learned to also reprogram my nervous butterflies. So I've learned to attack the thing that I'm afraid of the most, okay?
Right.
And as soon as I learn to attack the thing I'm afraid of the most, that's what actually happens. I get that and I overcome that. So my relationship with people are very, very simple. I literally have learned to absorb and learn from every person I come in contact with. I don't care who it is. Whatever we're talking about, I was like, oh, okay, I was supposed to learn that from her. I was supposed to learn that from her.
Right.
I'm good. It's no hard feelings. Some people have come to me and told me some of like the most weirdest things. And I think the average person would be offended. I don't get offended with nothing no more. Nothing bothers me. It's like, what was I supposed to learn from that?
Right.
It's every single situation. So my relationship with people, they're intentional and they grow daily. And I realize that now people come to me for those specific reasons. If I learn something from you, you're going to come to me for that particular thing.
Right.
I learned something from you, so here I'm here right now. So everything is super, super intentional. And that's what I used to do with anxiety and depression a whole lot. So that brought my anxiety level way down. Instead of overthinking, trying to process way too much, it's just like, I was supposed to learn it. I'm good.
Yeah.
I learned it. I'm good, and I'm done. So relationships are just awesome. More so the relationship with myself, just learning how to embrace myself and be okay with me. That's number one. And everything else is just
you say learning how to embrace yourself.
Yeah.
When you stepped out, did you have a support team when you started becoming intentional and saying, okay, I want to invest time and energy into this business and that business and that business?
Yeah.
How was that?
Truth be told, I'll be completely honest with you. As soon as I started stepping out, because I'm from Port Arthur, you automatically separate yourself from people. When you're raised from a small town with the expectations. Number one, Port Arthur was the second most miserable city in America last year. Okay, the second. You know what I mean? So the expectations are already low. Like, you're not going to succeed. You're either going to play football or you're going to be a superstar. You're going to be a rapper or an actor, one of those things. There's no in the world you're going to be a life coach. There's no in the world you're going to be a personal trainer or a bodybuilder or author. You know what I mean?
Right.
So as soon as I started doing that, people automatically started looking and treating me different. So I had, I guess, an unintentional support system. You know what I mean? And it wasn't like, yeah, you could do it, you could do it, you could do it. It was kind of like, okay. Because I wasn't doing anything wrong, quote unquote. You know what I mean? I wasn't like talking bad against anybody, making people feel bad because I'm still just me. So people didn't know how to support me. Okay. That's the thing. Nobody knew. That's why I say it was unintentional. Because think about it, like I said, neither one of my parents had college degrees. Neither one of my parents were entrepreneurs. Nobody in my circle is doing anything that I'm doing.
That was my story. I mean, my parents, they were just different. They worked all their lives. So for me to kind of be like, oh, when I grow up, I'm going to be this, and I'm going to be that, and I'm going to be that, and I'm going to be that. And I remember my mom saying, baby, you need to, don't lose your job. You know what I'm saying? You need to go focus on going to work. But I knew way back then that my time there was so limited that I was going to need to create, yeah, that's your phone, I'm sorry, to create my own, lane. So when that phase out, I'd have something already
and
built.
So that's what it was. So nobody knew how to support me.
Yeah.
So I always felt like by myself for the most part. You know what I mean? So I got my best friend Anthony, man. He's super supportive. I got 3 friends right now who understand this mindset, and I get it. So those 3 friends, I'm like, y'all get it. Everybody else, I can't really talk to you about that.
Now,
you know
what
what
about you? Because I know you said you had to kind of create your tribe. So did that start with the brunching?
It did. At one of the brunches, the first one, I remember thinking it had to be more to conversation and just turn up and good food. And it had to be more.
like
What if we had intentional questions? What if and I remember reading this interview with Oprah, and she watched Barbara Walters, and she had some questions written on an index card, and she had it hidden to her left, so she would always look down. So I wrote questions. I had questions about money and books that we were reading and what was going on in the world. It had to be more than fashion and gossip. And I kept on looking down at the index card, and I would just ask some intentional questions. And I remember getting text messages the weeks past saying, oh, Sunday's brunch was beautiful. Sunday's brunch was wonderful. We were at the Lucille's restaurant outside in the garden area. It couldn't have been a more perfect day. And I'm like, let's do this again. Let's try this again. And we did. And then it was birth. We were some beautiful women, some beautiful sisters just sitting there. I remember looking across. I'm like, we're some brunching beauties. We're just some beautiful women. And it was empowering.
Yes.
So the name literally grew just from the compliments that we were giving ourselves.
Yeah.
And from there, it's turned into more than just brunching. We're now doing scholarships and academic and trade scholarships, the Young Beauty Academy every June and July. We're doing so much more than just brunching. Brunching is actually the last thing we do now. Right now, we're just more about being servants and philanthropy and doing good and making a cause that's bigger than ourselves.
That is so beautiful.
That's so awesome.
Like I'm amazed. Honored to have both of you guys on my show. Like I just so if there's something that you could have done different on your journey, what would that be?
Not a thing.
Nothing.
Not a thing, because everything, both good and whatever we're going to consider bad, has gotten us to this very moment. Everything, God is intentional. There's nothing that's just happening. He knows exactly what he's doing, and it was planned before the formation of time. So where I am is where I'm supposed to be. What has happened was supposed to happen because it made me stronger. It made me wiser. Sometimes I would have never had a moment or was willing to submit myself and talk to him. Because if everything's going good, what reason do we really have to submit and listen? It's sometimes in that moment, that darkness, where you have to just be alone and just really ask God just to talk to you. Tell me what I'm supposed to hear. If everything's going good, I'm thinking that I've done it.
Right.
Yeah, so I've been humbled a few times, but I wouldn't change a thing, dear. I wouldn't change a thing.
I wouldn't change anything either, because that it's like a mosaic. Those cracks give you character.
Yes, it did.
And it
Yes, it
makes
did.
you.
I like
It separates
Yeah.
you from the rest. Now I know that you said you do training as well, body training and health. So what made you decide to do that? Because I know you were already getting yourself healthy,
Yeah.
but what clicked to say, you know what? I can do this, and this could be another stream of income.
Man, the funny story behind that, it literally just kind of happened. So the first time I lost weight, I literally lost 100 pounds in 6 weeks. Yeah, so it literally took me 6 weeks. 6 weeks to lose 100 pounds.
Weeks.
But I did it the wrong way. It was just straight cardio and meat and vegetables. More of a carnivore type of diet, what I mean? Nothing else. It was just wrong, what I mean? And I was just running 5 miles every single day, no matter what. I was just because something bad happened in my life and somebody hurt my feelings, so I made it a point to prove to them that I could lose weight.
6 weeks.
It took me 6 weeks to lose 100 pounds. Yeah. So I was dropping weight like that. I was just so determined to lose weight because the girl I was dating said I was fat and ugly. I was like, oh, okay. I'm gonna show you. So
And she not saying that now.
No, God, no. It's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
So once I lost the weight, and again, I was really doing it like unconsciously. I was just like, no, I was just so determined to lose the weight. So I lost weight, and then I ended up gaining weight back actually because I lost it the wrong way.
Right,
So
yeah,
I went down to like
usually
280, and then I gained it right back to like 320. I stayed at 320 for a while, and then I slowly but surely started losing weight the right way once I figured out, oh shoot, I'm supposed to do it like this or like that. So once I put myself out there and let people know I lost all the weight, I did one transformation picture, and then people was like, hey, help me lose weight. Hey, help me lose weight. Hey, help me lose weight. And I was like, okay. I wasn't certified or nothing. I was just,
giving
I was just doing it.
Yeah.
And then maybe 2 years later, one of my good friends, DJ, he was like, bro, you should just be a trainer.
Right.
And I was like, man, I don't want to get into the training concept, you know, and I didn't really find myself in training until I merged in what I'm doing, which is like life coaching and training. Because I don't want to just be a trainer, be like, go run, do 5, do 10, because I realize that's not people's mindset. You know, your mindset is completely off when somebody telling you to do a particular exercise and you don't have a purpose or reason as to why you're doing it. So I tell people I'm a personal trainer just to kind of reel you in. But I'm really like messing with your head. I'm trying to get you, I'm really getting your head straight because I make workout make sense. And so I was training, but I was like, I wasn't feeling it until I was able to be like, I can actually be a coach and train at the same time, merging the two together. And so that makes, for me, personal training is so much more than just fitness. I tell people that don't come to me just to work out because I don't want to train you.
And it's a beautiful thing when you meet somebody that's walking in their gift because people are automatically attracted to your light. Like when I first met you, shout out to Nakima Brown, Nakima Brown Beauty. We went to a vision board and I sat down across from you.
We had a powerful table.
And it was a very powerful table. Shout out to all the women that were there. And I didn't even remember the blue label and all. I just got your book. We're going to shout out to the book. And we talked and we prayed together and all the women went around the table talking about what they did. And it was just, you were just so humble and graceful. It was just something about you. So I bought her book to support her. And I went home and I started reading her book. And it was just like, I know it says a daily devotional, so there's like an excerpt for every day. But it was so good. I find myself like, on the 15th devotional in the same day, and some hit harder than others depending on where I was, but it was always something in here that I could apply, you know. And so sitting across from you, I want to say thank you, but what inspired you to decide to write the book and do public speaking?
Wow, good question. What inspired me to write the book? The book was already written. I had been just writing. It was a message to myself. It was a message to myself. I once heard that a minister once say the Sunday sermon is not always for the congregation, it's for the minister. And it was a message to me. So the book is broken into seasons. It begins with spring and then goes to summer, autumn, and winter. Whatever season, I never really got the concept of like emotions. I always thought of it, what season am I in? If I'm having a great time and it's fun, I'm in the summer. You know how the young girls say hot girl summer? I was in the summer. I was having a good time. If I was sowing and depositing good things, I was in the spring. But if I was reaping what I've sowed, I'm in an autumn. And sometimes the cloudy, overcast, and cold of winter, that can make you feel gloomy. That's more of the sad time. I would be in a winter. That's just where I was. And I hoped that everyone would be able to understand and relate to it. And obviously it did. So thank you so much. But
I got to have her on my show.
It's been an amazing journey. And I said, you know what? I'm going to write it for me. Maybe no one gets it, you know, and I didn't care if no one got it or not. It was for me. But it's just beautiful to know to do it anyway. I often tell people that you're in your own way. Once I got out of my own way, everything manifested, as he said, everything once I got out of my way. But thank you for receiving it. I mean, it's the biggest honor.
I actually want to bring up your website. Now, if people want to book you for speaking engagements and book signings, are they able to do that through your website?
Actually, my email address is livingintentionallybook@gmail.com. They can send me a message, ask me, you know, for speaking engagements, book signings, books, questions. And sometimes I have dialogue. People want to ask a question about one of the pages or a season. And it's just a really great way to get in contact with me.
Do you communicate with people on Instagram as well?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And your Instagram is
Living Intentionally Daily Devotional. Yes.
Yeah. So make sure you have that up. And did we get, that's your website right there.
Yes.
And your book is also available there. So we could definitely go there, get a copy, send her a message, let her know Onay the CEO sent you. And definitely book her for your next women empowerment, because I was definitely empowered upon meeting her. And Rickey, you also have a book as well, Reprogramming Your Mindset. And they can also go to your website. Now, can they book you on your website for training,
speaking, anything. You need.
anything.
Like, everything I do, nutrition, speaking, drumming, everything is right on my website.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. And your book is also available there as well.
Amazon as well. It's
Amazon.
Reprogram Your Happiness.
Ooh.
Okay, I'm sorry,
It's okay, yeah.
but I'm so
Yeah, I
stuck
know.
on you changing my
I
mindset.
know,
But it's
so it's
reprogram your happiness.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah,
Yeah. Reprogram Your Happiness. That's the name of the book.
You definitely reprogrammed your happiness too.
100%.
Yeah, I
That's why
can
teach
see you have a
happiness.
whole glow now. Not saying that you didn't
Yeah.
before, but
Yeah.
I could
It's
just
an
see
intentional
it.
glow, you know what I mean? And it just comes out natural. I don't even try no more.
It
It's like,
is.
bam, you know?
It is. So people can book you through your website.
Absolutely,
And then you
yes.
also, you have your Instagram. People can follow you.
Yep.
I see that you also post intentional quotes there as well. Both of
Yeah.
you guys are really good with those daily quotes that keep you on your toes.
I'm telling you.
So I definitely follow both of you guys, and I suggest those that are watching, these are two people that you definitely want to follow that will inspire you. Tell them Onay, the CEO, sent you because they are good friends of mine. And I thank you guys both for coming to the show. I want to tell my viewers to be sure to follow us on all platforms. We're also on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe. We're on Stitcher, Spreaker, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Podcasts, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and iTunes. So definitely find a platform that suits you best. Follow us, support the movement, and if you are having an aha moment or have had an aha moment and you're an entrepreneur, please feel free to reach out to me, Onay, the CEO, on all platforms, and I'd love to have you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now, do you guys have anything coming up? I'm going to ask you first. Marsha, do you have any speaking engagements, anything, any book signings coming up?
Speaking engagements, let's see. Always Be a Lady Conference is in September. That's with Lady Patricia Anderson. Let's see. We actually were supposed to have the Brunch Beauties were having a summit today. Actually, you all are the first ones to know. We're going to have to postpone that due to Corona. But there's so much more. That's a good question. I didn't even think about it. I can't even think of my itinerary. But
you're constantly posting on your
I
Instagram,
am.
so people
I
can
am.
follow you on Instagram. And if they're following you, they'll definitely be able to
Yes.
follow you to your next event.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. And what about you? You have any
Yeah.
events, speaking engagements coming
Got a
up?
couple of things coming up. It's all at the same time to think about. I know in April, in next month, I'll be at A-Leaf, A-Leaf High School. So I'll be doing 2 speaking engagements there. In June, I'll be at the Huntsville Rotary Club.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll be doing that. And I think in May, I forgot what prison I'll be speaking. So yeah, I got a couple of things coming up. I have a lot of little small groups I put together, but those like the main public things I'm putting out there. Yeah.
Wow.
See all that magic we have around the table. Well, thank you guys
Yes,
for
thank you for
living
having
outside
us.
the box.
Thank you
Yes.
for having us.
Thank
Tell
you
a
so much.
friend to tell a friend to come on and share their story.
Yes.
And thank you guys for tuning in. I'm your host, Onay, the CEO, and you are tuned in to Outside the Box.